Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is author Germinal Van. The monologue I'm going to deliver to you today is about immigration. Let me start from the get-go and tell you that I do support strong borders. A country that doesn't have strong borders will not prevail. And this is actually the case in Germany with the open borders policies of Angela Merkel. Now the Germans are basically losing their identity. So it is important to have strong borders because it enables you to protect your community and the citizens of the country. It also preserves the cultural identity of the nation, and it also helps the government to regulate trade with other countries. So it's important to have strong borders. I do support the president on border security issue. Theoretically, not in practice, and I'm going to explain why. First, let's talk about illegal immigration itself. Most of the people who came to the United States or who are still coming to the United States did not come illegally from the get-go. I say most, not all of them. They come basically under a tourist visa or under other kind of visa, and then their visa expired and they overstay. Why do they overstay? Because they love the way of life in the US. Who wouldn't? The countries of opportunities, where you have a chance to make a life for yourself and for your family. Of course, they see this and they don't want to leave. And then we do have now people who are illegally crossing the border, whatever the motive is. So yes, we have an illegal immigration issue. But now the question is how to solve it. That's where my disagreement with the president comes into play. First, let's talk about DACA. The president wants to completely dismantle the program. I don't think that's a smart or thoughtful approach, because DACA recipients, the current DACA recipients they're like 15 or 18 years old. So they were born in the 2000s, like 1999. Those people are high school kids. When they came in this country, they never left after they came here. They went to elementary school, middle school, high school. So DACA offers them a chance to actually become middle class in this country. How do you become middle class? You make sure you get your high school degree. You make sure to get a job. You have to make sure to not get a child in your 20s. Or if you want to get a child, make sure you get married first before you get a child. And do not have a criminal record. If you fulfill these 5 principles, you're going to become middle class. Because if the president wants to eradicate DACA, if he eradicates DACA, it's going to stimulate even more resentment among the recipients. It's going to drive up the crime rate, because those people now have nothing to lose, since they lost the only thing that could help them being lifted out of poverty. So I think the people who have DACA currently should not be deprived of. But what the president can do is to implement new policies to toughen DACA laws, so people will not get it that easily. What kind of policies? I don't know. But the president can definitely implement new policies to substantially reduce the amount of DACA recipients. I am sure there is always a solution for it. The second is the border wall. I agree with the wall in a metaphorical sense of the term. Why? Because the wall has been the most unconventional proposal within the last decade. So from 2010 to 2020. Within this decade, it has been the most unconventional proposal that shape the imagination of the American people. Absolutely. Because building a wall means strengthen our borders. I agree with the theoretical sense, but not with the practice, not with the literal sense of the word. Why? Because even if we build a wall, people will find a way to cross that border. Every problem requires always a solution. The wall may certainly reduce the number of illegal immigrants coming to the country, but it will not completely eradicate it. Moreover, building a wall to me sounds like it's a sign of totalitarianism, because it's totalitarian regimes that build wall. When you look at North Korea, there's a giant wall between North Korea and South Korea. When you look at the former Soviet Union, which built the Berlin Wall to separate himself from the rest of the world, from the Western world, that people who build walls are, I mean, regimes who build walls are those who have something wrong and they know they're doing something wrong. Plus, those who support the wall say that, oh yeah, like, you have a house, your house have walls, has fence, you have to protect yourself. I understand the concept. But if you build a wall on the southern border, you have to build a wall on the northern border too. Because I've never seen a house that has fence on one side and the other side is open. No. If you build a wall on one side, you have to build a wall on the other side. So if we have a border wall on the southern border, we need to have a border wall on the northern one. If you open one door, you have to open the other. You can just do things halfway. And on top of that, there's one thing people, I think, didn't think through. It's the fact that wall is man-made creation. Let's say, hypothetically, that the president managed to build a wall. And it is most likely that he's going to be re-elected. So he'll be president until 2024. So until January 2025. But we live in a two-party system. So it means that it is most likely that in 2025, we're going to have a Democrat president. And this Democrat president will come with the same determination as President Trump to dismantle this wall this time. That's what it's going to do. It's going to focus its entire presidential campaign and platform on dismantling the wall. And what dismantling the wall would require? He's going to tell the American people that to dismantle the wall, we need to create a government agency specifically for that task. And as you guys know, creating a government agency requires raising taxes once again. So who loses in that story? Us. We're the one that will still pay for that. We are going to pay for the wall, and we're going to pay for the dismantlement of the wall. That's the honest truth. And to me, I don't think the wall is the appropriate solution for it. What the president can do, of course, is to implement a comprehensive immigration reform. Even before I get into that, let me reassure you my support for ICE. ICE should be maintained by all means necessary. ICE is doing a fantastic job in the southern border and even throughout the United States by stopping human trafficking and attenuating illegal immigration overall. This is a shout out to all the ICE officers who are putting their life in the line to protect all of us. The immigration policy reform that I could propose to the president I would say has two branches. So let's be practical. If we don't build the wall, how can we then secure the southern border? By deploying more National Guards and also deploying more Border Patrol officers. And innovate the technology to track all the individuals who are crossing the border from the Rio Grande to Tijuana. And now, the immigration policy that I could propose to the president is an assimilation policy. Of course, the United States receives around 1 million people every year through different programs. And many people do come in this country without speaking English. And to me, that is the way the country is slowly losing its culture. And we need an assimilation policy which will require every prospective immigrant to have at least an intermediate level of English. So basically a conversational level of English. Because, you walk in the street, you want to ask a question, then you ask a guy, an Hispanic person, you ask him a question, he say, oh, no hablo inglés. Like, come on. And he doesn't make the effort to learn English. It's like someone comes in the street and asks me a question, I'm like, oh, non, je parle pas anglais, désolé. No, I do speak English. I made the effort to learn the language, to understand the culture of the country I'm living in, and to subject myself to the laws and regulations of the United States government. An assimilation policy will require prospective immigrants to endorse the culture of the country they are about to immigrate in. It is important. And on top of that, an assimilation policy will reduce the amount of people who come to the country, because we want to make sure that the people who are coming in this country will contribute to the advancement of the economic growth. What we want is people who contribute to the economic growth every single day. Because now with the welfare state, you have immigrants who are coming who do nothing and receiving welfare benefits. So that's wrong. It's time to toughen the immigration policies to make sure that those people who are coming are valuable assets to the advancement of our economy. It is important. And moreover, we want to make sure that those people who are coming know the English language, speak it, and endorse the values of the country they're coming into. That's how we preserve the culture, the cultural identity of a nation. But if we keep having two languages, so we have documents, official documents translated in Spanish all the time, people will not make the effort to learn English. So if we have Spanish, we should have French, we should have also Chinese, we should have Korean, we should have Russian, we should have Swedish and all other languages. But no, we all agree to bound ourselves to the English language, because although it's not written in the Constitution that English is the official language of the United States, it's still the language of the United States. So it is important to learn the language. It is important to endorse the values of the country you're immigrating in. Ladies and gentlemen, that was my monologue for the day on immigration. Please leave a comment and hit the like button, and I will see you guys next week.